John Lennon was more than just a frontman for the Beatles. John Lennon was an artist, a rebel, and an activist for peace. My motivation for wanting to do my speech on John Lennon today is I want everybody to know that John Lennon was more than just a member of the Beatles. John Lennon may be gone, but his message of peace can live on. One of those ways that it can carry on is through word of mouth. John Lennon was one of the lead singer-songwriters for the musical group The Beatles during the 1960s. John was always somewhat of an outspoken rebel. Soon after the Beatles broke up, John started to take a notice to the Vietnam War and took a stand. Today I will be talking to you about John Lennon and his childhood, his time with the Beatles, and his work with the peace movement. First, I will talk to you about his childhood. John Winston Lennon was born October 9, 1940 to Alfred and Julia Lennon in Liverpool, England. The night John Lennon was born, Hitler launched his fiercest attack on Liverpool, a major port and city. John's Aunt Mimi was quoted in Lennon, the definitive biography by Ray Coleman, saying this of the night John was born. I was dodging in doorways between running as fast as my legs would carry me. I was literally terrified. Transport had stopped because the bombs began always at dusk. There was shrapnel falling and gunfire. When there was a little lull, I ran into the hospital ward, and there was this beautiful little baby. Since there were so many bombs being dropped, the hospital staff advised John's mother to put the baby underneath the bed for safety. In the spring of 1941, John was sent to live with his Aunt Mimi. John's mother was suffering hard times because of the war and her husband being a soldier. I have a picture of John Lennon as a child that I will show you. Kind of light, but that's him. John's Aunt Mimi was very strict but very loving. John's mother acted more like an aunt, coming and going as she pleased, spoiling him and then leaving. John's mother came back into his life during his early teens. He finally got a chance to have a relationship that he always longed for, and he kind of felt robbed of as a child. Tragedy struck soon after John's 17th birthday, when his mother was hit by a car driven by a drunk, off-duty police officer and killed. John was quoting saying this of her death: "I lost my mother twice, once as a child of 5, and again at 17. It made me very, very bitter. I had just begun to reestablish a relationship with her when she was killed." Secondly, I would like to talk about John Lennon's time with the Beatles. Beatlemania was well on its way before the Beatles arrived for their U.S. tour in 1964. 4 days after arriving in the U.S., they performed at the Coliseum in Washington, D.C. The audience went crazy. The crowd was screaming, crying, shaking, fainting, dancing. This reaction was quickly dubbed Beatlemania. Though the Beatles were loved by many, it only took one comment by John Lennon to make him and the boys feel pretty far from home. In March 1966, 6 albums later, Abbey Road being one of them, at the height of their career, John Lennon made a comment to someone who he thought was a friend, but was also a reporter. It was published in London's Evening Standard and quoted John saying, "Christianity will go. It will vanish and shrink. We're more popular than Jesus now. I don't know which will go first, rock and roll or Christianity." People were mad. Churches held bonfires, burned anything that had to do with the Beatles. The KKK, who branded themselves a religious organization, held a protest in the parking lot of one of the Beatles concerts due to this comment. John eventually apologized. Also in 1966, John met a Japanese artist by the name of Yoko Ono that had caught his eye. They first met at Yoko's art exhibit in London. John had seen so many negative and depressing art exhibits, he was very reluctant to go and see her. But the first thing he saw when he got there was a really tall white ladder that he had to climb all the way to the top, get a magnifying glass, and look at a word on the ceiling. And when he did that, he saw the word yes. He was so excited about this positive message that he looked at the rest of her art exhibit. Lastly, I would like to talk to you about what I think is the most important part of John Lennon's life, which is his work with the peace movement. Together, John and Yoko launched a worldwide campaign for peace. In 1969, they married in Paris, and instead of going on a honeymoon, they held a 7-day bed-in for peace in Amsterdam. They welcomed the press to their room for interviews and messages of peace. After the bed-in, they went to a press conference where they talked about Bagism. They held this press conference from inside a white vest. They wanted to get their message of peace across to people, but they also had to take into consideration that they were famous. So what they wanted to do was, by shielding themselves in this white bag, they wanted to get their message across without people gossiping about how long John Lennon's hair is and how short Yoko's skirt is today. They wanted their message, but not their image, to get across. At their bed-in Montreal, they recorded from their bed the song Give Peace a Chance. Give Peace a Chance quickly became the anthem for the peace movement. Together, John and Yoko launched the War is Over campaign, which is right here is one of the posters. These posters were made into big billboards. They were all over the world in many different languages. It says, "War is over if you want it. Happy Christmas from John and Yoko." Most of their messages of peace were highly ridiculed by press and conservatives, but they still managed to have a huge following. On the night of December 8, 1980, John and Yoko exited the apartment that they shared together in New York. A man shot John 4 times in the back. The doctors announced John dead on arrival. There is much conspiracy over John's death, but the official word from the police was that it was a crazed scam. After they announced John Lennon's death, radio stations from across New York City started playing back audio clips from interviews that he had had and quotes of him on death. And the biggest one that was played over and over again was John saying, "I'm not afraid of death because I don't believe in it." There's a memorial in Central Park called the Strawberry Field Memorial. It is the only memorial that's ever been allowed to be in Central Park that has religious ties to it, and it's shown right here. People gather there every year on his birthday and the anniversary of his death. Right here is the lyrics to his song Imagine, written on a building, on the side of the building in a really bad neighborhood. A photographer came across this right after his death, and it kind of gave him a little bit of hope. On October 9, 2007, which would have been John's 67th birthday, the Imagine Peace Tower in Iceland was lit for the first time, in remembrance of John and what he stood for. Imagine Peace is engraved in the tower in 24 different languages. Hopefully now, all of you know that there is much more to John Lennon than his work with the Beatles. Now maybe you can spread the word of peace. I hope I have given you a little glimpse of John Lennon's life as a child, and with the Beatles, and as a peace activist. Thank you.